Hello, and welcome to Book of the Mouse Club, Episode 4, Thursday, July 19th, 2018.
Morning, monsieur.
Where are you off to?
The bookshop. I just finished the most wonderful story about a beanstalk and an ogre and
That's nice. Marie! The baguettes! Hurry up!
I'm sorry, but how can one possibly pay attention to a book with no pictures in it?
My dear child, there are a great many good books in this world without pictures.
I almost bounced clear out of the book. Some bouncing, huh?
Come home or make myself known.
J. Thaddeus Turtle, Esquire. Have you never met him? You will find his story in this delightful little book, The Wind and the Willows.
I've come to return the book I borrowed.
Finished already?
Oh, I couldn't put it down. Have you got anything new?
Welcome to Book of the Mouse Club. I'm Courtney, and I'm joined by my co-host, Emily.
Hey, Courtney, are you ready for a spin-off on A Tale as Old as Time?
Ooh, I am. So this week, we are talking about Beauty and the Beast, Lost in a Book, an enchanting original story. Before we get into kind of like what that book is about, I think it would be best for us to talk about why we both love Belle and Beauty and the Beast so much. I know it's my favorite Disney film. I believe it's yours as
Yes,
well, or at
it is.
least up there. So you can go first.
We need to clear the air definitely about our obsession with Beauty and the Beast and Belle before we move forward in this. And that's the whole reason why we chose this as our first fiction novel, is because we love Beauty and the Beast so much.
So where did your love start?
For me, it's going to sound a little, well, definitely childish, because I've been friends with Belle, or like obsessed with her, and always thought of her as a friend of mine since I was little. But I think it was that younger kid mentality of like, oh, there's a princess with brown hair. I have brown hair.
Emily, I was going to say the exact same thing. I was like, this is probably... But I was thinking about it as we were preparing for this episode. I was, just driving to work and thinking, and I was like, no other princesses had brown hair when we were a child.
Yeah, at the time. So we're both... You're also a 1992 baby,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the film came out in 91. So she was really the first princess when we completely grew up with her in our childhood. She was also new, so I feel like she was around a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Just because she would be the newest princess. But yeah, that childhood mentality of she had brown hair.
I mean, Snow White has black hair, but it's very black. And I'm like, no, she's a brunette. Like, all of my Barbies were brunettes when I was a kid. So,
see, I had a hard
this
time
is
getting a
too
brunette
funny.
Barbie. So when I got my American Girl doll, I had to get an American Girl
Did you
doll
get
that had brown
Molly
hair.
or
Yes,
Samantha?
I did get Molly.
We are the same person. I have Molly too. But back to Belle. So surface level.
But as I grew up, though, I loved to read. I always liked reading as a kid. And I always thought the French language was intriguing to me. That's why I took it in high school. So I think just some other things along the way. But I liked the magic in the story as well. Like, there's talking objects. It's not just talking woodland creatures. There's talking objects. Like, that's beyond bibbidi bobbidi boo. Like, it's a clock. It's a candlestick. Like, that just blew my mind as a kid. So brown hair princess, loved to read. I had a little library in my room. So I was like, oh my God, Belle is me. Except I have blue eyes and she has brown. And that used to make me so upset that she didn't have blue eyes, or that I didn't have brown eyes like her. Because I'm like, I'm not exactly like her. Close enough. And I love Belle and I love the story.
Yeah, I've always loved it. It has been my favorite film since I was a child. I know, like, I think a lot of kids get fixated on something and it's like they have a movie that they watch every day or all the time. And Beauty and the Beast was definitely my favorite. When I was really little, like before I was in school and just watching it at home, I used to make my dad die on the couch during the transformation scene at the end and like reenact it. And I had a Beauty and the Beast birthday when I was 3, had a Belle dress and everything. I'll definitely post a picture of that because I used it for Halloween that year because my parents were smart. But absolutely just loved the film. I think I really took to the music. Beauty and the Beast was the first live professional stage show I ever saw. I didn't see it on Broadway, but I saw the tour when it came through Maryland when I was 6. So definitely connected there. Like, it's kind of just played a constant piece in my life. It's one of that and Singing in the Rain are my feel-good movies. When I'm sick, I'll put on Beauty and the Beast, and it's just a comforting, like a warm blanket that you wrap yourself in. But as you said, I was a reader when I was a kid. My parents would punish me by saying I couldn't have my bedtime story. Like, that was the threat, not like, oh, we're going to take away your TV time. It's like, Courtney, do you want a bedtime story? So I think I took to Belle's love of books, and I just loved when he gives her the library. I was like, yeah, that's what I want. I don't need roses.
So, Courtney, are you ready for something else that's kind of crazy, similar between you and me?
Okay.
That you just said? Beauty and the Beast was also my first live performance on stage, but I did see it on Broadway.
Fancy. But I love that we have this similarity.
And also, I think I also saw it in Philly when it came through my hometown. But I remember seeing it twice because that transformation scene was just so cool of how they pulled that off.
I've only seen the professional production once, but like anytime someone's doing it, even if it's a high school and that I don't know anyone, if it's local, I'll be like, we're gonna go see it. Like, my dad and I have probably seen Beauty and the Beast at least 4 or 5
I was
times.
in it in middle school.
Nice.
And my embarrassing role, I was the first bonjour in Belle in the opening song. I was the first bonjour. And then I was also a painting in the castle, so I just like stood as scenery in the background the entire time.
I can't sing, so I feel like I'd be the lady who's like, I need 6 eggs, and just yelling in the background.
There's another great meme out there right now that's like, be as passionate about the lady who screams, I need 6 eggs in everything in your life.
I
know
think
what?
Mad Chatters posted a clip from the Broadway.
Oh, was that Mad Chatters?
Yeah, that's what made me think of it. But yes, so what
is
you
true?
can take from this?
She stands out.
She does stand out. But I think what you can take from this is we are super fans of Beauty and the Beast and Belle as a character, even though it might have superficial roots, no pun intended, in our brown hair. But growing up, loving the film and, you know, being a child of the 90s and Disney, this is definitely one of the definitive classics. And they updated it for 2017, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where our book today stems from. This was released along with the film or just before it. So let me revisit the summary that we shared last week for any new listeners joining us today. This is the description on the back of the book that gives us a little taste of what we're going to talk about today. Smart, bookish Belle, a captive in the Beast Castle, has become accustomed to her new home and has befriended its inhabitants. When she comes upon Nevermore, an enchanted book unlike anything she has ever seen in the castle, Belle finds herself pulled into its pages and transported to a world of glamour and intrigue. The adventures Belle has always imagined, the dreams she was forced to give up when she became a prisoner, seem within reach again. The charming and mysterious characters Belle meets within the pages of Nevermore offer her glamorous conversation, a life of dazzling Parisian luxury, and even a reunion she never thought possible. Here, Belle can have everything she's ever wished for. But what about her friends in the Beast Castle? Can Belle trust her new companions inside the pages of Nevermore? Is Nevermore's world even real? Belle must uncover the truth about the book before she loses herself in it forever.
Here's a little more information about our author. This is her book jacket description. Jennifer Donnelly is an award-winning best-selling author of books for young adults and adults, including the Waterfire Saga, Deep Blue, Rogue Wave, Dark Tide, and Sea Spell. Her other young adult novels include These Shallow Graves, Revolution, and A Northern Light, winner of Britain's prestigious Carnegie Medal, the Los Angeles Times Book Prize for Young Adult Literature, and a Michael L. Prince Honor. She has also written Humble Pie, a picture book, and the adult novels The Tea Rose, The Winter Rose, and The Wild Rose. She lives in New York's Hudson Valley, and you can visit her at jenniferdonnelly.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So she's written a lot.
Yeah, I'm curious how she was picked, because it doesn't seem like she has a Disney affiliation, and this is an official book published by Disney, Disney Enterprises.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how they approached her. Maybe we'll talk to her one day.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out. I'm sure maybe if we can tag her in something, maybe we'll get some answers.
That'd be fun.
I just find it interesting that 3 of her books, the last 3 I mentioned, all have the word rose in them. And I'm like, oh, roses, Beauty and the Beast. It's all there.
Very perceptive.
All there. But she clearly has a lot of experience writing for young adult novels, and that is what this is. I would say this book is geared towards that preteen to maybe 16-year-old crowd.
Yeah, It was in the
mid-teens.
Sure, I bought mine at Barnes and Noble, but I think it was in the children's young adults section when I found it. Yeah, this was a spin-off, or kind of based on a little bit of the live action adaptation that came out in 2017 with that all-star cast of Emma Watson, Josh Gad, so many people within that. But where would you say this takes place within the live action film? Obviously, nothing in this book, given this whole Nevermore book and Belle going off on her own, actually occurs in the film. But like, where would you say it falls? Because I'm kind of speculating here.
So one slight change that they made is, so this starts right after she gets the library. Like, the Beast brings her to the library. So that's one change they did make in this book, was that in the live action, she just kind of stumbles into it when she asks, like, oh, you have more books to read? And he's like, yeah, duh. And, like, brings her in and makes that joke of, like, you can start with some of these. And it's, like, this big, giant library. But in the book, it kind of went back to the original film idea of he gives it to her as, like, a gift of, like, trying to befriend her in some way. So it does take that spin, and that's where it opens. So somewhere between, it's taking place between where she is presented the library and before Angela Lansbury or Emma Thompson sings Tale as Old as Time, Beauty and the Beast. So it's between that realm. I don't think they've had the magical dinner yet.
No, they definitely haven't had that. I'm wondering if it's even before the song Something There, because I feel like a lot of this book, you're in Belle's head and she's kind of reconciling with those feelings. Like, if New and a Bit Alarming was a book, this would be it. Like, it's her kind of dealing with those and recognizing those feelings within her.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, maybe I think you're right, before the Something There song, because after that they're really good friends, and most of this book is her going back and forth, like you said, with the friendship. So I agree. I think it's somewhere around there. But they took a really small niche and she did turn it into a full story that probably spans, what, like a week?
That's what I was thinking. The passage of time isn't that clear, but it seems to move pretty quickly through there, but not like, ooh. I mean, it's clear when there's a new day, but I wasn't counting how many days there were.
Right.
It feels appropriate to me.
And she's probably been in the castle for like a month now, I'd say.
Yeah, because it talks about her relationships with Lumiere and Mrs. Potts and Chip, and how much she's taken to those characters. So I think it gives her time to establish that friendship, because it's weighing, as the back of the book description said, her friendship in the castle with these enchanting friends she meets within Nevermore.
It's hard to figure this out because the films move so quickly.
Yeah.
It's almost like she's only at the castle for a week before she's being rescued by her father and the mob comes. But I think that's one of the things I liked about the live action film, was that it kind of slowed that time down a little bit and showed you a little bit more friendship development than the original animated film did. But this book, if you like that idea of what else was she doing in the castle in this time, this really does expand on that a little bit and gives you some more background info.
If you're open to things outside the canon of the film, then go ahead.
Right.
I know some people are very strict. Like, I don't even count the sequels. I love the sequels. I love Beauty and the Beast, Enchanted Christmas. Like,
I love them.
This gave me some vibes for that. Kind of within the same time frame.
Can you say it's outside the canon, though, when it's published by an official Disney publisher?
That's fair. I guess just sometimes I feel like these books are meant to, like, supplement it or explore more.
Right.
Because some of them, like the Enchanted Tales, that series that's like, Twisted Tales, sorry. That Twisted Tales series is like, here's what could have happened. So not necessarily canon.
True.
I guess we'll get to that at some point. But I don't know. That's a good question. I guess I didn't take it as, like, fully canon because, like you said, it's tied into the live action film, but some of the things that play out contradict the live action film. But that's probably because the book came out along with the film, so the author was given a limited amount of information to work with. I don't know, but
I can agree with that.
Why don't we go over some just, like, general dislikes or likes about the format and style of the book, like before we dig too much into the plot. And I will say we're not going to get too spoilerly here. Like, we want you guys to be able to enjoy and read, but hope that this, sparks your interest, possibly.
So some things that I generally liked, my general likes here are that I like that it's based on the live action film. I really enjoyed the live action film. I feel like it really enhanced the original Disney story that we know, and it didn't change it that drastically that I felt like you took away my childhood favorite movie. So I really like that we expanded on the live action film and into this stuff. And I always wondered, like, what else was Belle doing?
Yeah.
So I like having the idea of that story.
I felt the same way about the live action film. I feel like, I love this film. I grew up with it. It's my favorite. But when I'm saying the film, I love the animated film that we grew up with, but it is filled with plot holes. I liked that the live action film kind of not so discreetly confronted a few of those plot holes.
Yes, they did. So I like that this book was more based off of the live action because it fit because those plot holes were filled in. But it's a quick read. It wasn't a difficult read. It was kind of that like brain candy.
A good beach
I like that
read.
a lot.
If you're an adult reading.
I actually did read it on the beach, Long Beach Island, last weekend.
I read it on my lunchtime at work.
I'm a teacher. I get beach breaks now.
I would say it's an easy read. What I found interesting about the format was that the chapters were like 4 pages.
There was some that were even 1.5.
I noticed that. I feel like maybe the longest was 10 pages max.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I don't know if that's a thing within young adult fiction. It's not a genre that I read very often. I was never into Twilight or anything or like The Hunger Games. I read the first book and then I never read the rest. Sorry.
To give readers some context, it's 341 pages, but there's 68 chapters.
Yeah. It just seemed, I was like, is this necessary to just end here? I mean, it made it easy to pick up and put down because I was reading it over a few days for an hour at a time, but that stuck out to me as I was reading it. I was like, oh, I'll have time for one more chapter. And I was like, no, I actually just read 4 of them in 10 minutes.
Yeah. Because I think it was necessary to switch because sometimes you go back and forth between Belle in Nevermore and Belle in the real world, per se, at the Enchanted Castle. And then there's a couple chapters that are just the Beast perspective when they're like looking for her when she goes lost in the book. So there were moments where it was definitely necessary, but then there were some where I'm like, why did we create a chapter just for her to look behind a door? You could have kept going.
I did like stylistically that you go inside the Beast and Belle's head. Like when you're watching a movie, you just see it play out, but this is that type of narration style where you're present within their thoughts and how they're processing their emotions, and I felt like that added some more depth to the characters that you don't get within the realm of the film. So I definitely appreciated that to a degree.
So speaking of characters getting into their heads, one unique thing that not necessarily a dislike, but something that was different for 2 fans who are very partial to Belle. What did you think about her characterization in this? I was a little on the fence.
So you mean like compared to her in both films?
Yeah,
I feel like it was a little different. I think there's more similarities between Emma Watson and the 1991 animated feature, and we kind of get a new Belle in this book, which is weird because it ties into the Emma Watson film. I do feel like Emma Watson made Belle like a little more stronger and assertive, but she was already like a great heroine even back in 1991. But in this, she felt kind of naive to me at times.
Yeah. Well, I feel like she was different when she was in the Beast Castle. She was more headstrong.
Yes.
I'm going to do, you can't tell me what to do. I'm still my own person. But as soon as she would step into Nevermore, she never questioned anything. She blindly followed these characters. And I'm like, how is she that different between these 2 different stories? And I get that she's longing for an escape at this point, because where we are in the timeline, she's still really missing her father and doesn't want to be in the castle. But I'm like, she wouldn't just abandon her complete skepticism and how she thinks through.
Agreed. I was going to say she's a very smart girl in both of the film versions. It's clear that, kind of her independent spirit sets her apart from the people in the village, and she's this oddball out because she loves to read and has that intelligence. And then sometimes things she'd do in Nevermore, I was like, girl, like, red flag, red flag. Why are you doing this? Like, just kind of blindly following some of the things that happened, which was surprising to me.
And why I'm thinking this book is also maybe in the young adult realm, on a younger young adult, more of that preteen, early teen age, because the writing style, I think, naturally lends to her seeming a little Hermione because it's simplistic. Whereas some adult fiction that's maybe geared towards 17, 18, 19 is not. So I think this is definitely on the younger end. Like, I would give this to an 8th grader for sure. And they would be really intrigued by this. But as a 26-year-old reading it, I was like, this is really simple. And Belle's not this simple.
In my head, I pictured her younger in a way. Like, I had to keep processing that. I mean, we never really know Belle's age, but in the animated film, I think it's kind of widely accepted that she's about 18. And Emma Watson's maybe a year or two older than us, like in her mid to late 20s, but she looks younger. So I'd say, Belle's under 25. I was picturing her more 16 or so. Like, that's the way she behaves at moments.
Yeah. So that was just one thing that kind of threw me. And I feel like the Beast's characterization was a little different. He still had that anger, those things he can't tell Belle, doesn't know how to express himself. But there were moments where I thought he was a little too chummy with, like, the other characters. Like, there's this scene, this doesn't spoil anything, where they're celebrating Chip's birthday. And the master goes, and the master gave Chip a present. And I was like, I don't know if I really saw Beast doing that, like, genuinely. Or I felt like he would have maybe felt awkward going to their birthday party. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of it just felt a little too chummy to me.
I feel like that was supposed to represent kind of like how he's coming around. Like, he's definitely cold and standoffish a bit at the beginning of the film. I mean, he did, as we say, give Belle the library in the very first chapter, and it kind of sets him up to grow. But yeah, I can see how that's not exactly what you'd expect from him at this point in time.
At least the way she wrote it.
Yeah.
Or the way she wrote it, he seemed more eager to participate than I thought he would have. Because I could see him doing it for Belle's sake, but they were like, he put up the decorations and he brought a birthday present. Yeah. And I was like, I feel like he was a little too enthusiastic into it than maybe he would have been. I feel like he would have just been there, been like, happy birthday, Chip, ate a piece of cake. And then he does slip out at the end.
Like, standoffish and a little awkward or so.
Yeah, a little more awkward than he was.
He warms up a bit. Was there anything else that was different in the book than the film that stood out to you?
So I guess a general plot line in the beginning, we have 2 new characters, love and death, which is a very common literary theme of putting those 2 together. They are the catalysts of the Beauty and the Beast story. So this is something a little different, that Love is the person who curses the beast. Agatha is a separate character, the beggar woman.
In the live-action film.
Right, because when I was reading it, I thought Love was because when I was reading it, I was like, oh, if Love was the enchantress, she's also Agatha, because in the movie, Agatha is the enchantress, the beggar woman. But that's not it here, I don't think. They don't really make that super clear. Because Belle talks about Agatha, but I don't know if... But Love never comes out and says that she is Agatha or the beggar woman. She just said that she says she was the beggar woman, but not necessarily Agatha. So I was a little unclear on that. Love is the one that curses Beast. And then Death, her counterpart, her sister, I kind of got Wizard of Oz vibes here, like Good Witch, Bad Witch. It starts with them playing a chess game, and Death's like, Beast is never going to learn to love before that petal falls. And Love's like, he will, I have faith. And so they make a bet. And then Death gets a little involved with her tricks to try to win the bet that Beast will fail. And presents that book Nevermore to Belle. So that's definitely different than what we see in any of the films, that we have some new characters and new catalysts, or at least some deeper background.
Yeah, that as that's part of the love and death chat scene is the prologue, so you don't really like see Belle or at any point in there. And I'm reading that as I'm starting, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is different. We'll see where it goes. So yeah, that's probably the biggest difference. Yeah, is that we've introduced 2 new characters. Otherwise, other than the people that are in Nevermore, there aren't any different characters within the castle. That's pretty much straightforward.
Yeah, and I guess it kind of fits because if we're watching the film is from Belle's perspective, we would never know love and death. We would never know, and they never explored Nevermore in the film. So it kind of fits as its own vignette story in that way. You can forgive it. So with those differences, did you like love and death being part of this? I didn't mind it so much.
Yeah, it grew on me. Like I said, as I was reading the prologue, I was like, all right, we're going in this direction. But it was interesting to see how they kept trying to one-up each other within the bet and tying it back to the process of Belle and Beast falling in love and the things that get in their way.
I liked Death definitely when she was in Nevermore, how she plays off that she portrays this beautiful countess who tries to like seduce Belle with all these wonderful things. And I really liked her character in that, like the way she spoke, the way she presented all these things to Belle. I think she kind of reminded me of Regina in Once Upon a Time. Like that's who I pictured her dressed as, with the dark lipstick, the pale skin, the dark hair. But at times, like that character is really charming that you just kind of go, oh, okay, yeah. But then she has bad intentions behind that charm.
I liked some of the double entendres in a way. She says that she knew Belle's mother, who of course we learn within the live action film that Belle's mom died of the plague, because there's that book-like flashback scene. Kind of gives you vibes from this book. But I like when she says the line, she's like, oh, Belle asks, you were friends with my mother? And she's like, yeah, I was the last face she saw before she passed away. And I was like, ooh, subtle hint and foreshadowing. Watch it. I was like, danger, red flag. But I like just kind of the way the author constructed that and worked in some of those double meetings, alluding to the theme there.
She is deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it funny too at the end. Then she's like, oh, I gotta go to Venice. There's a plague coming in.
Yes. Bye, girl.
So, yeah, she was kind of a character that you're like, oh, she's bad, but I liked reading her character. Yes. She was fun to read.
Absolutely. So because this takes place kind of, in the middle, I'd call it like a midquel, rather than a sequel, are there any other adventures you think Belle had in the castle before the mob and Gaston stormed the castle?
I don't know. I like to think that she did lots of things besides just read and then have a snowball fight in the field. I liked that in this they talk about her going skating in the eternal winter, so that was kind of nice. I also like to think that she explored lots of other rooms, or maybe tried to look at the paintings and like who's Beast's parents, or try to figure out more of who used to come through here, or she went through the closets and pulled out some dresses and tried them on.
What I'm curious about, and what I think would have been fun to expand on, it's a matter of like showing versus telling. I feel like they just kind of tell you in the book, she's friends with Lumiere, Chip, and Mrs. Potts. And I'm like, okay, but what do they do? Like, do they just sit around and talk? I mean, there's a scene at the very beginning where they're cleaning the library together. Yeah. But I think it would have been nice to see other adventures between those, like to really build that friendship rather than you just telling me they're friends. Great.
Yeah, and you see that a little bit in this book with throwing Chip a birthday party, and Mrs. Potts knows that, toasted cheese sandwiches? I think grilled cheese is Belle's favorite. So they obviously know stuff about each other. But yeah, no, you're right. I think I would like to see more of what the other characters do besides clean. They're small objects. They can't clean everything.
They don't have hands. How did they clean? That bothered me.
Plumette's just doing everything.
There's a scene in Chip's birthday party where they're describing him like opening his present, or it says that like Chip liked to read and he found this book, and I was like, but they don't have hands. And I just pictured, if anyone's familiar with VeggieTales, the Christian animated series, there's this scene where like this princess, I think it's Esther, like takes her crown off, but it just floats down. It's like, 'cause she doesn't have hands.
I feel like I have to go back and watch the movies now and see like how they did things. Like Lumiere and Cogsworth they manipulate the handles a little bit, but yeah, definitely Chip and Mrs. Potts
does not.
They're using like Chip's using his handle, I guess, to like maneuver things like kind of like a puppy, how like they use their nose.
Yeah, you're right.
To like move stuff.
Cogsworth definitely, like you see he has like thumbs, and Lumiere to an extent, but I think it just really bothered me with Mrs. Potts and Chip. I was like, how are they supposed to do these things without?
So in reality, they're commanding all of these other inanimate things like a mop and a broom.
For sure.
Kind of like Merryweather. Come on, mop, broom, clean up.
There you go.
And they're like, oh, I worked so hard, even though they didn't do anything. Plumette is pulling all the weight in that friend group.
Poor girl. Hard worker.
So the main theme of this book, they do spell it out for you. It's kind of said on page 165 and 218. I'm going to read what Mrs. Potts says, and I kind of want your thoughts on this. 165, flipping. There it is. So she says, I know it's very hard, your situation here, with the master, with all of us. I know this isn't your choice. She hesitated, trying to find the right words, then said, Belle, it's a wonderful thing to read about other people's lives, but it's important to live your own life too, no matter how challenging that life may be sometimes. Do you understand what I'm telling you? So it's kind of hinting right away that she keeps running away to this book. They don't know this, but I guess that escapism is kind of the theme. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like escapism was something that Belle already did outside of, or within her little town. She says she wants so much more than this provincial life. So these books in Père Robert's library are her place that she goes to get away, and that's why she's floored by the library. It very much is heavy that she goes to the library just initially as something to do, to read because she loves it, and then gets put into a book to escape the harsh realities of the Enchanted Castle. But I like the message there that, you know, books are great, but you can't stop living your life around you because you're going to miss out on things and opportunities and people who need you.
It's kind of a hard message for a podcast that's about reading books all the time.
It's not saying don't read. It's, see, we're able to talk to each other. We're in real life. We've gotten out of the book.
Yeah, but I can heavily relate to getting lost in a book sometimes, that I just don't put a whole book down, and next thing you know, I've read 600 pages without realizing that I didn't eat all day or whatever. And so I can identify with Belle on that.
No, and I don't think it's saying that books
mm-hmm.
are bad. It's just like any vice that you use to escape needs to kind of be grounded and make sure that you're not neglecting people. Or that
True.
Other themes, like everything's not always what it seems. Like Belle is so quick to jump into this other realm, other world of Nevermore, that she desperately wants everything that happens in there to be true. So it's looking within like the beast to find what's really there.
They're both on a soul-searching mission. But I think some of that message kind of bothered me a little bit, because I think it aligns up with what we said with Belle's characterization, that I never really took her as someone in the films that she used escapism to the extreme. So I get that you needed that to make this story work, but that was something else with the characterization that I was like, it works for this story, but I never quite saw Belle that way. Like, I never saw her escaping her reality because she desperately didn't want to be there, but as a general, for 2 hours, I just want to not think about that I miss my father or something like that. Not so much the extreme of that she blindly follows some characters into an enchanted book. But they do spill out the theme, and it's a good theme. I think it's a good lesson. All young adult novels tend to have some sort of lesson, or at least the ones that I've read. So I think it's a good one,
I agree. But
I was curious what you thought about it.
It's a little spoon-fed at times.
Yeah.
But I think that's what you can expect from young adult literature, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the genre. So it didn't annoy me or anything. I just knew going in. I was like, all right, love and death, and that's going to be part of everything that happens here.
Yep, love, death, and be okay with your reality.
Well, if you had a magical book, where would you want to go? And what would you want it to be about?
I think I would kind of go down Belle's route and want to do like Italy and really old parts of Renaissance Europe. I think I'm just in that stage in our life, like somewhere in your 20s, it's like a thing to like backpack through Europe. And my roommate just did that. So I'm kind of on this kick of like, I want to go country jumping and like see lots of things. So I think I would kind of have a similar adventure.
Yeah, so in the book, we should explain, the book is able to transport her to like a chateau outside of Paris, and she travels to Paris with the Countess, who also offers her the chance to go to other places just by entering this magical realm.
So I think mine would be a travel adventure. I guess I would say Disney World if I hadn't already been there so many times and I have access to go there. But right now I think I am on that Europe kick just from that stage in my life, and lots of my friends have recently traveled to Europe. So I wish I could make that trip a little easier. Where would you go? What would you do?
I'd want to go somewhere fictional. I don't know like where exactly, but I'm kind of feeling like some Lord of the Rings vibes, or just like someplace
I didn't even consider that.
mythical that doesn't exist. Like I feel like if I'm in a book, anything can happen. So I'd want like, powers and things like that to be able to go somewhere.
Done. I'm going to Hogwarts. Harry Potter is going to be reality.
There you go. You can do that at a different non-Disney place. The place that shall not be named. I feel like Hogwarts is an obvious choice. I'm just feeling some kind of fantasy realm for sure. Maybe it's because we just read this fantasy-esque fiction.
Yeah.
In a way. I didn't take it quite literally. I was like, yeah, no, I want to go into something that feels purely fictional to me.
From all the other places you mentioned, like Middle Earth would be really cool, but at what point? Because I really don't want to die in a fiery war with some orcs or something.
Just hang out with the hobbits and eat second breakfast all day. You'll be fine. Like, I'm just going to stay right here in my hobbit hole, and it'll be fine. Don't bother me. I'll be like Bilbo Baggins and just live in my independent life.
Yeah, I just finished and rereading the Aragon Inheritance series, so I could definitely go for a flight on a dragon or something. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that's what I'm getting at. Like, I want a dragon, and I want to be able to fly. So
you want to be the mother of dragons?
Like the never-ending story or something like that. Aww. Along those lines, a flying magical creature. That's all I want. I'm a simple person.
I can't believe I didn't even think about like the fictional world. I've just been on such a Europe kick from everyone around me traveling to Europe.
No, it's still a good answer. I mean, it's very in line with what happens in the book as well.
But you're right, though. Fictional world, oh my goodness, the possibilities would be endless. Or what if you could actually become a toy in Toy Story? Not just go to Toy Story Land, but actually be
I was going to plug Toy Story
toy.
Land. This summer, 2018, shrink down to the size of a toy and visit Andy's backyard. Now open at the Walt Disney World Resort. But yeah, and it's like, okay, but what Disney movie do I want to go into? There's so many options in different realms. And I did like that element. I think it draws on some of what you see in the live action film. Like they added Beast had his own magical book and he takes Belle back in time. I feel like that was kind of like a tie-in between the two, but this takes that in a completely different direction and makes it like a thematic problem within.
I had to think about that book for a second because for a moment I was like, wait a minute, was Beast's enchanted book Nevermore? But then thinking about the plot line, it's like, no, it's not, because that book was given to him by the Enchantress, which in this case would have been love, not death, and death owns Nevermore. So like I had a moment there, I was like, wait a minute, was that actually the book? And what he brought her to see was actually fictional, but his, I think, was an actual like teleportation book, which would still be really awesome to have if it were real, if only. So who would you recommend this book to? We kind of talked about ages, but anyone else you think would enjoy this besides the young adult?
We've had certainly some criticisms of this book, but ultimately, as a Beauty and the Beast fan, I did enjoy being able to see more of Belle and Beast's story. So if you love Beauty and the Beast, it's worth it just to see some of your favorite and familiar characters in a new light. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it to all Disney fans, but someone who shares that passion for this film like we do, it's worth checking out. Or if you have someone in your life who is a young adult and enjoys young adult fiction, this would make a great gift or present for them.
Yeah, and it's a quick read again, so if you're looking for something to read for 2 days, 3 days. I mean, we took a couple days because we were doing this in between work or trips or whatever, but I think the total time that I spent reading this, I could have done it in a full day if I really sat down and just read.
Yeah.
So it's a quick read. So if you're looking for something fun, quick,
a light beachy
definitely read. It is a good beachy read. Anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Okay, this isn't, I kind of hinted it with the hands. This isn't a major part of the book, but if you follow me on Twitter, you know that my biggest plot hole with my favorite film is who are Chip's brothers and sisters and what is the deal with Chip. Now, this is based on the live action film, and they filled that kind of plot hole and didn't have Chip's brothers and sisters in the cupboard, but Chip has a birthday party. And I need to know, like, was he born a teacup? Was he born and turned it? Like, there's just so many questions about Chip and Mrs. Potts I have that I'm like, I'm still just seeking answers anywhere. Please tell me.
We need some more books.
We do. I need a Chip spin-off. So I don't know. As I was reading, it just, anytime it talked about like Chip's characterization of like, and he got the book and really likes pirates. And I'm like, this is a child, but like, what is Chip's full backstory?
I feel like he couldn't. Is it possible to be born a teacup? He had to have been an infant.
A birthday, so he was born, but it just, I mean, I think in the opening of the live action film, you do see like a young boy and they kind of seek to answer that, but like it was not confronted on the book, like really very much about anyone's life prior to the castle. So that's something that I wish the book touched on more.
See, I think about their names a lot.
That's
like
fair.
Mrs. Potts is a teapot, but that kind of goes with what she did. But other characters, like Chapeau, the coat rack, his name is actually Chapeau, like a hat. So in his real life, yes, I get he was a footman, but his real name was Chapeau. Really? Like, those are the things that bother
like
me
Cogsworth.
more than the...
What does that mean? Is that his first
Well, he has
name?
cogs. He's a clock.
Well, yeah, as a clock. But when what you're asking is when he was a human. Was that his first name? Was that his last name? Lumiere. I'll give you a pass.
I took it as last name.
I don't know. I still love this movie. Yeah. I don't want it to sound.
Oh,
like,
I do too.
But it's just, as I mentioned before, if you sit down and think about it, just don't think too hard. For sure. But I know we always like to leave our listeners with some other resources that they can turn to or things that we thought about when we were reading this book. So what would you recommend?
So mine, if you love Beauty and the Beast, go back to the original story that was written in 1740. When I tried to look up who the original author was, general consensus on the internet was, please pardon my French, Gabrielle Suzanne Barreau de Villeneuve. It's been a while since I took French, guys. High school, been a bit. But she's listed as the original author, novelist, who published in the papers. And if you go back to the original story, it's even more different than what we know than the Disney telling. I read it in French class in high school, and I was like blown away. But it still has those good themes with the rose and finding true love and whatnot, and being able to love people beyond their exterior. So if you really love Beauty and the Beast and you've never read the original tale, go find that. And then earlier I said I got some Wizard of Oz vibes from Love and Death, Good Witch, Bad Witch. So if you haven't visited that one in a while, maybe take a read on that. I really enjoy the original Wizard of Oz.
I can see that. Mine was similar. I said Alice in Wonderland because with her going into another realm of Nevermore and being new to this place and meeting all new characters there, I kind of got Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass vibes, where you're like, she steps through the looking glass, Belle steps through the book, as a portal, and she's just trying to find her way back home, and Belle's finding her way back to the castle. But of course, also the tie-in that was a Disney film that was adapted from a story, so a little connection there. I'm sure we'll talk about Alice herself at some point. And my other is not a book, but you should go watch Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, if you haven't. It's worth revisiting. It has Tim Curry. Need I say more? I think of some of those direct to VHS sequels of the day. That's one of the better ones. It has the original voice cast, the good music, and it ties right in with, I feel like you could put this book and that Enchanted Christmas together, and it still fits within the same timeline.
Yeah, and it's also another story that builds on Belle's time within the castle before the mob shows up. Because Beast is still a beast in Enchanted Christmas. So it's happening before she leaves the castle. So here's another adventure that you can see how she became friends with all these different characters and other things to do, like celebrate holidays.
Yeah. Never too early. Christmas in July. Treat yourself. Coming up. But also something coming up next month is the movie release of Christopher Robin, which we mentioned on our intro episode is something we're both very excited for. So in anticipation of that film, and because of our excitement, we are going to be covering Winnie the Pooh. Now, of course, not originally published as a Disney book, but it is something that Disney acquired the rights to and has grown to be a recognizable part of the Disney brand. So we're going to be reading A.A. Milne's original Winnie the Pooh text. Emily, why don't you give us a little preview?
All right, so lose yourself in the 100-acre wood as Pooh goes visiting. Eeyore loses his tail and Pooh finds one, and Piglet meets a heffalump. Along the way, you'll rediscover the classic stories that made Pooh the world's favorite bear. And right from that description, I know the story of Eeyore losing his tail, or even if you haven't read the original text of it, it's a very familiar thing. So I'm really excited to read this.
I have warm fuzzies just thinking about it. So we're excited for that one. That'll be our 5th episode, already moving right along. We do have some rating and reviews on iTunes. We'd love it if you could give us feedback as well. We are always open to it. I'm going to go ahead and read one of those. So we have a review from D. Kern 1980 that says, "What a creative and ingenious concept for a podcast." As the quoted title for this review, attributed to Walt Disney, suggests, books inspire, and based on the preview of things to come detailed within the first episode, so will this podcast. I look forward to listening and reading along with the hosts to explore with them and learn from some remarkably influential books by and about Disney. So we're glad to have you along with this journey.
Yes, thank you for that review. And please, guys, find us on iTunes and leave us a star review, a written review that helps other people find us, helps get us out there. And we want to know what you guys think so that we can keep making this podcast better.
And we're certainly happy to interact with you on social media. Emily, you want to let them know where they can find us there?
Yeah, so our official Twitter and Instagram is at Book of the Mouse. So find us there for pictures, updates, or interact with us. We love chatting with you. And then you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Emily_McD. Courtney, where can we find you?
Absolutely. I'm on Twitter at Courtney_Guth. That's COURTNEY_GUTH. And I am on Instagram as Great Gutsby. So yeah, please find us there. You can send us an email or tweet at us. And why don't I take us out with a little quote from this book that I did like and I do think characterizes Belle and the overall message well. And that's, "Belle's brown eyes had shone with happiness. All her life she'd loved books. She loved the look of them, the smell of them, the sweet weight of them in her arms. Most of all, she loved the feeling she got every time she picked one up, the feeling of holding the entire world in her hands."
Yeah, I agree. That really sums up what I think of as Belle and their love of reading.
Absolutely. So we're excited to continue our world of books here. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you next time for some fun Winnie the Pooh discussion. Bye.
Yeah, see you next time. Get down to your library.
Bye.
Pick it up.
of the Mouse Club has no affiliation with the Walt Disney Company. The views and opinions expressed by hosts and participants are theirs and theirs alone. They do not represent the organizations or companies they happen to work for.